right, so for the Faith in Life podcast today, we have Alisha, Artis.
Yay!
Yay! Alisha, let me first question. How many times have you heard Alisha Artist?
Oh, a lot. Actually, my favorite pronunciation is artiste.
Artiste? Alisha Artiste.
It makes you sound fancy.
Right, you sound like, wow.
Uh-huh.
Alisha Artiste.
Yeah, it's fancy.
Maybe you should adopt that and just kind of go with it.
Sometimes I embrace it.
Do you?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't think my husband likes it, though. I don't think he likes it.
It kind of makes you sit up taller when you have Artiste.
It's special.
Nice Artiste.
Yeah.
Alisha Artis.
Yeah.
So one of the things I really appreciate about you, Alisha, is that when you come to staff meeting, what people don't know about is that Alisha brings things sometimes to celebrate birthdays or anniversaries, like and various and sundry things. This is what you love to do this.
I'm a gift giver.
You are a gift giver.
It's a love language.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yesterday, she brought, come on, corn nuts to our staff meeting. It was the best ever. Of course, I mean, it was awesome because I loved corn nuts.
You do, apparently, and that's why I brought them, you and Greg. So
Yeah. And
I was fully thinking of you guys.
yeah. So we're in staff meeting, crunching away during staff. It wasn't, and I'm glad you didn't bring corn nuts to this conversation because
They're noisy.
it'd be really noisy.
Yeah.
People would not want to listen to this podcast.
Very crunchy.
Yeah, very much so.
Very crunchy.
So what was the best gift you ever got? Like, or where was a point where you said, I really feel good about bringing things like this because maybe you've received a gift like that from someone?
I think I probably get that trait from my parents. Both my mom and my dad are very generous people, and I'm pretty sure that's where I get it from. I mean, they're always thinking of others, putting others before themselves. I would like to live like that, in my life, and I think that's where I got it from initially. It just feels good. It feels good to do things for other people. Like today I'm wearing a shirt underneath my sweatshirt that says it's about being kind. And I just think that that's so important. I mean, it feels good to be kind, and it's nice to receive kindness from others. And I think that's the generosity is probably I get that from my parents. I'm sure I do.
Yeah.
So.
And your mom is a pastor.
She is.
And your dad's a psychologist.
She's a retired psychologist. Yes.
Both in service, both in fields that serve people
Yep.
and make life better
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah.
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 Any standout stories of what you noticed when you were a kid, of when you saw your mom, like, oh my gosh, that's so impressive my mom did?
I mean, my mom, she's just a wonderful woman. Pretty much anything she does is pretty outstanding when it comes to helping and serving others. So pretty much anything she's ever done in ministry has been that way and has stood out. And then my dad is pretty much the same way, in the way of, helping, being a psychologist and talking to people. And he just has just a tremendous amount of patience, which, obviously you need to have that in that area. He is an awesome listener. I mean, he is definitely a person I go to when I need somebody to just listen. And he does it without judgment. And I just think that that's so important. So, he's my dad. But, he will be real with me, too. He won't sugarcoat things. He'll be completely honest, and I totally appreciate that. But he is just an outstanding listener, and I think that that's why he was so successful as a psychologist. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a huge gift to give someone, to sit down and just listen.
Yeah.
And what a gift that gives people.
Yeah.
Wow. So when I do funerals, when I officiate them, and if I talk about the deceased, and one of the things I 9 times out of 10 pick up on is that the good qualities in their life is mimicking something bigger in who God is. And so when you think about your parents, how is it a mirror image of the divine image within them for you?
I think it's just what I said, just their personality traits, their character, and just people really, truly just love and appreciate both of my parents. for what they've done in their professional lives, their friendship, family. It just I think it's just their personality traits and their character traits. I just think that says a lot. And obviously, living, you want to live like Jesus. You know what you want to do. Live like he did and do what he did and be like him. And I think they emulate that too. Like I'm their daughter, and that's what I want to do. I aspire to be very much like my parents, both of my parents. I have a very special relationship with my mom, and I have a very special relationship with my dad. Now, my parents are divorced, and they're both remarried, but I have very separate and special relationships with both of them. I'm very close to both of them in a very different way. So yeah, I think just how they are as people is what I just aspire to be. So, yeah.
Family's important to you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Really important to you.
Yes.
Yeah. And the connection between importance of your own personal family, right? Your brothers and sisters. How many siblings do you have?
So, immediate family. I was the youngest of three. I had two older brothers. One has passed away, and so then it's me and my oldest brother. And then when my mom remarried, there were siblings on that side. So I have a handful of step siblings. I hate to say step siblings because it just sounds weird to me, but essentially that's what they are. So like I have an older stepsister, an older stepbrother, and then a younger stepbrother, and then they all have families. And they all have kids. So then I have all these nieces and nephews. So, yeah, I have a pretty big extended family. So. Yeah.
And you have a bonus son.
I do have a bonus son, and his name is Ethan. And senior in high school, 17. I can't believe he is going to be graduating this year. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around it, even though I haven't been in his life the whole time. But it's kind of a weird and scary feeling right now that he's pretty much going to be on his own soon, and we get him every other weekend. Me and my husband get him every other weekend because he lives with his mom. But I love seeing the relationship he has with his dad. He's very close to him. They are very similar, similar likes, similar interests. Yeah, and he's grown to have a special relationship with me. It wasn't always easy, being the other parents. But he does call me bonus mom, which I think is awesome. And he's just a great kid. He really is. And I'm not saying that just to say that. He really is a great kid. He's smart. He works hard. I see a lot of similar traits, like I said, within him and like his dad. And he likes numbers. My husband's like a math. He is a middle school math teacher. Actually, he's an administrator now. But the bonus son likes math too, so he's probably going to do accounting when he gets into college. So more power to you. I'm not great about numbers, so give me the kids. I'm with them. But when it comes to numbers, I'll leave it to you guys.
I'm not either, and I'm glad that people are.
Yes, God bless them.
Yep.
God bless them.
They bring that gift to the world. And,
yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
We're so grateful for that.
God bless you all. Thank you.
That's right. So talk about your passion for children and family ministry, right? So what was the day that you said, this is something I want to pursue, or this is where God's calling me to contribute to the world around us?
I have always worked with kids in some kind of capacity. And I honestly can't say that I saw myself working in a church. Now, I grew up in the church, and my mom's a pastor, but she did ministry later in her life. So I can't honestly say, I saw my mom doing it, and that's what I wanted to do. I just always knew that I wanted to work with kids. And initially, when I went to college, I was thinking I would be a child psychologist. I'd be like my daddy. And going to psychology, and I had an advisor in my undergrad that wasn't really supportive and kind of said I wasn't going to be cut out to be a child psychologist, which was very hurtful and discouraging. So I ended up changing my major and majored in sociology, which is similar to psychology anyway. But I knew I didn't want to do social work. Like I kind of already had the mindset I didn't want to do that when I got out of school. But I've just done so much with children, like I said, in different capacities. Summer camp programming, before and after school care programming. I've worked in a hospital setting, being a therapy aide. Just all the things, like just all these different kind of things. Childcare, daycare, that kind of thing. So I don't think there was really any kind of one set time where I was like, hey, this is what I'm going to go into the church and do it this way. I think it kind of found me, to be honest. I think, God always has a plan. And I fully believe that, just within my personal experience. I just fully believe that. And I think the ministry aspect just kind of found me. Like, saw a job at a position at a church working with kids. I was like, hey, it's working with kids. This is going to be great. And then when I got into it, it was like, this is like so natural for me. I'm working with kids. I'm working with families. This is great. It's just in a church setting, which, I grew up in the church. I love the church. I was very involved in church as a younger kid. So it just felt right. And then I think later on, when I went back to get my master's in family ministry, I think that's when God was like, hey, you got to do more. Like, I love what you're doing, Alisha, and I want you to do more. And I think that's when, I guess you could say, the calling kind of, that was like the, like kind of like, that's it. Let's go. You're going to go to school again. Yeah, I know it's been a while, but you're going to go back. And you're going to do family ministry, and it's just going to just further the ministry that you're already doing. So, yeah, I think that's kind of how it came all about, probably.
Yeah, there's a couple things in there I want to explore a little bit. But one of the things is that second point, that is, and my question is, when you felt like, okay, I think God's calling me to get my master's degree in family ministry, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a master's in... Actually, it's a master's in children, youth, and family ministry. So it's all of those. Gotcha. It's a master of arts in children, family.
Yeah. And so when you knew that was happening, I mean, there's a bit of excitement in that, of anticipation. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if there was a little bit of overwhelm, like, oh my gosh, it's been a while since I've been in school, and I'm not, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, it really, I mean, I got my undergrad around 97, it took me a while. Technically, it went a little bit longer to finish because I was out of school for a little bit and then came back. But that was kind of my graduating class was in there around 97. But it took me a long time. And I think for some people, it's kind of hard to go back to school when you're as an adult. And I wasn't sure how I was going to do. I wouldn't say I was the best student in my undergrad years. So there was some hesitation there, but I decided to go for it and thought, it's going to be different. I mean, it's different now that I'm an adult. It could be better, it could be worse, it could be harder, it could be easier. And then in doing my master's, I actually did so much better in my master's program than I did my undergrad. I mean, yeah, I surprised myself, I think. But yeah, it was like you said, it was very overwhelming, and there was some hesitation, like, can I fully do this? But like I said, when God leads you to do something or calls you to do something, or he has a plan, like I said, I fully believe that. That was his plan for me. He wanted me to do it, and, what are you going to do, say no? Right. No, you're not going to say no. You're going to go, so.
Right. I mean, people say no at first.
Yeah.
But it always God goes, but let me bring this back to you again.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's timing, sometimes it's, it takes a delay.
Yeah.
But to your point, I mean, eventually it's going to happen.
Yes.
And I really appreciate that sense that whenever God calls, it's not always easy. Mm-hmm. There might be excitement, but like you said, man, it's just a little hesitation, like, I'm not sure if I can handle this right now because of this, and boy, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
And then, but I also like the beginning of your story when you said that you can almost like you just happen to see this position, and it was almost it's serendipitous if we put a divine focus on it. it's serendipitous.
Yeah.
On another level, it's accidental.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So the cool thing about that, and I want to mention, initially, the first church position I did, so the senior pastor at the time knew my mom, which I did not know. So they did know each other, and so there was kind of a connection starting there. And then I found out when I got to that church that one of my really good childhood friends, her family attended, and we went to church camp together. And so I found out that she attended that church, and so I was like, okay, this seems like it's fitting and it's coming all together. And then there was another person of the church that knew me and knew my family from the Dayton area from a previous. So it kind of all came together. So once all of that was happening, I felt like, oh, this is the right path. This is where I need to be. God made this happen for a reason, and I'm so glad that I trusted that. So yeah, it just kind of all came together.
Isn't it interesting though that lots of times, I mean, from probably majority of us, that's the way it happens.
Yeah.
We just kind of follow a hunch.
Right.
We wonder if this is the right way to go.
Right.
And we just keep following that path and see where it goes, and if it's the right path, it'll reveal itself as the right path.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it might feel overwhelming at first. It might feel like, I'm not sure if I'm on the right path, but you just keep going.
Right.
And here we are.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And how God works in the mystery of the everyday small decisions we think we're making, but maybe it's a spirit prompting you to move into that direction.
Right.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah. It was cool. It's cool.
And so when you came, it's a similar story to how you got to St. Luke.
It is.
Right?
Yeah, kind of. It kind of was. I was, we've gone through this pandemic, and I was at my previous church for 10 plus years, and, some things happened there, unfortunately during the pandemic, and there was some job, kind of restructuring, and they ended up eliminating my position, which led me to have to find another position, but it was tough to do that during a pandemic. I knew that I really, truly still wanted to be in a church, but because of everything going on, there just wasn't those kind of positions happening. So it was a long road to get here to St. Luke, and I'm so happy I am here. But yeah, so, saw this position at St. Luke. And what really drew me to it is of it being family ministry. And obviously that was my next step within my ministry. I was not doing family ministry at my previous church, even though I had the degree in it. They just weren't at that kind of stage yet, I think, at the church. And so I was just doing children's ministry. But when I saw that here for St. Luke, I was like, I gotta go for it. But in doing that, you're still kind of looking for other things and applying for other jobs. And I kind of had to trust, in all honesty, I had to trust God and kind of make a decision between, this position at St. Luke and somewhere else. And I just felt strongly that St. Luke is where I needed to be. And that's what I did. And I am so glad I did it. I am so glad.
And after you made that, we find out that your husband's name is Mike, and then your bonus son's is Ethan. And by the way, my name is Mike, and I have a son whose name is Ethan.
Yes.
That's crazy. And then, your cousin is the athletic director
for
Westerville North High School, where our three boys went to school.
Yes.
Actually, I know him.
My cousin.
I don't know him well, but I know him.
Yes.
I've talked to him.
The connection.
It's like, what the...
I know.
How did this all happen? Craziness. I mean, there might be others.
Yes.
Of those serendipitous, like, God's like, okay, you're in the right place.
Yeah. You gotta trust, and that's what you need to do. You just have to trust and follow.
And trust and follow. It's not always clear right away.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. That's a encouraging point of view. I appreciate that. Alisha. Well, hey, it's been great to talk to you. Thanks for sharing everything with us. And thanks for sharing your gifts and your ministry with us. Last question. Are you a peanut M&M, a plain M&M, or a peanut butter M&M person? Is there a peanut butter? I think there is.
Yes, actually, that's my husband's favorite. He likes the ones that have the peanut butter in them. Honestly, I like the pretzel M&Ms.
Yeah.
That's probably if I have to choose a favorite M&M kind. I like the ones that have the pretzel in it. I also like the crispy M&Ms that have the crispy
yeah.
in there. So yeah, I think those would be probably my choices of M&M flavor.
Awesome. Alicia, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thanks.